There was a friend who I've known the family since I was in the seminary. Incredible family. They're like living saints, truly, truly wonderful people. And I remember it was about 7 years ago. She told me just something, like it's the people that are supposed to love you the most end up hurting you the most. You know that idea of families can hurt each other. So her mother accused her of stealing something, and my dear friend would never do that. And so you should see her face when she told me that her mother accused her of something that she would never imagine doing, and the entire family sided with the mother, and she became the youngest of 6, and the family just didn't talk to her anymore. It was awful. Can you imagine the suffering of your own mother? And so the sister, though, at the time, I don't want to tell you too much. I mean, you can't figure out who it is, but just in case, I got to be careful, okay? So I'm going to be more broad here. So the sister, the way that the sister treated her, the way that the sister talked about her, the way that the sister would continue to say words that were just so evil and so bad online all the time. And the sister would go to daily mass. Every single day, the sister would go to mass and she would pray and she would do all the things that she was doing. And then on the side, she would treat my dear friend in a horrible way. I share the example. It's awful example. It's a very unpleasant example, but it's a reality of we do things, on the surface, we pray, we go to mass, but deep down there is this evil, this pride, this selfishness that eats us away. We think we're doing God's work, but we're not. That's the first reading, friends. When God gave the commandment to his people, he said, I want you to offer sacrifices, because the people began to worship false gods. And so these sacrifices of animals and all these things were to root out the idol worship of the Israelites. And then over time, they did all these outward things. They would go to worship, they would go to temple, they would sacrifice. But then they would treat people so poorly. They forgot the poor, they forgot the widows, and they forgot God. They flipped it over upside down. And so imagine when God tells the people, he says, look, you are worse than Sodom and Gomorrah. You guys know Sodom and Gomorrah, right? Can you imagine? You are worse than them. That's serious, friends. It's the external. It's not as if God is saying, no, don't sacrifice, because in those times, it was the law. I want you to sacrifice. I want you to do those things, but remember, those things are meant to change your hearts. My dear friends, I'm going to be very direct. If we go to Mass every single day, and we walk out of this church, and there's someone deep down that we hate, and we talk bad about, we got to rethink what we're doing at Mass. Does that make sense? Is that more direct with you? Okay? Or let's say we pray 20 rosaries a day. It's a lot of rosaries, by the way, but some of you do that, I'm sure. And you leave this church, and all of a sudden your words are like daggers. And the way that you talk, and the way that you speak, and the way that you treat others, it is not Christian, it is not Catholic, it is not Christ-like. Then it's much better that we pray one rosary and we do our best to treat others as Christ would want them to be treated. But don't get me wrong, if you pray 20 rosaries and you treat other people with love, good for you. Good. My dear friends, our external actions, the way that God commands us to love and to act, it's meant to transform our bodies inside and out. Our souls are meant to change glory into glory into glory. We are meant to be transformed. If we look in the mirror and we are the same as last year, something is very wrong.